All right, the time being 6 o'clock and this being the Plymouth Select Board, I will call to order this, the Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025 meeting of Plymouth Select Board. Please join the board in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Tonight's meeting of the Plymouth Select Board is taking place in a hybrid format. Members of the board are joining us here in person at the Great Hall. Members of the public that are presenting to us or participating in public comment may be joining us here in person at the Great Hall or virtually over the Zoom webinar platform. Members of the public that wish to attend this meeting may do so by attending us in person at the Great Hall at 26 Court Street or via the Zoom webinar platform. The login information for the Zoom webinar platform is included on the agenda that is posted on the town website. The meeting can also be observed through Comcast Channel 9 or Verizon Channel 47 or through the local scenes YouTube streaming service. Members of the public are also reminded, pursuant to Massachusetts general law, that any person may make a video or audio recording of an open session of a meeting of the Select Board after notifying the chair, subject to reasonable requirements of the chair, so as not to interfere with the conduct of the meeting. At the beginning of the meeting, the chair shall inform other attendees of any recordings. Presently, I am aware of recordings being made by the local scene for the cable broadcast as well as the Zoom webinar and YouTube streaming site. All right, that brings us into our agenda. We have, first and foremost on our agenda, a couple of public hearings. We will take each of them separately, although they are with the same applicant. So, first and foremost, we'll read the notice for the first hearing. In accordance with Chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Laws, as amended, notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held at the Plymouth Town Hall, 26 Court Street, on Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025, at 6 p.m. to consider the application for a new farmer winery pouring permit from Vitamin C Brewing, Plymouth, LLC, doing business as Vitamin C Brewing, 98 Water Street, Unit 102, Dino Funari, manager. Description of premises is as follows: 242 total square feet located on the second floor, 40 square feet for the winery productions, with the remaining 202 square feet for the farmer winery pouring permit area. 6 entrances and exits. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should plan to attend this meeting. And do we have anyone here to speak on behalf of the applicant? Yes, please take the podium, Dino, and introduce yourself for members of the public. Okay. Is there anything you would like to tell us about the application? Yes. I don't know if your mic is the green light on?
There it is. Sorry.
All right, there you go.
That might help. Again, Dino Funari. I'm the founder and manager of Vitamin C Brewing in Plymouth and also Weymouth. As you know, we're here tonight to apply and hopefully be approved for our pouring permit for our farmer winery license. We are currently considered to be a farmer brewery. We've been operating since May of 2024 in Plymouth, down on the waterfront at 98 Water Street, with no issue, no problem. And we've just found that we've received a lot of requests as our business has compounded now with a greater focus on events, that many people are now asking us to be able to offer wine and cider as well. As you know, many people either don't like beer or due to allergy reasons cannot drink beer. So this gives us an option for people both in the events and through our tap room to be able to offer something that everyone can enjoy.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the applicant from members of the board? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of the application? Anyone online, Jade? Okay. Hearing and seeing none. Anyone here to speak in opposition of the application? Anyone online, Jade? All right. If there is no one else here and no questions from members of the board, I will declare the hearing closed then. Do I have a motion in regards to this first of the two hearings?
Motion to approve new farmer winery pouring permit for Vitamin C Brewing as presented.
Okay. Mr. Golden has moved that we approve the first public hearing notice. Any second?
I'll second.
Isaiah Quinto has seconded. Any discussion as to whether or not we should approve this request or this permit? Hearing and seeing none. Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintal?
Abstain.
And myself, yes. So with 4 voting in favor, none in opposition, and 1 abstention, we have approved the new farmer winery pouring permit. That brings us into the next listed public hearing, that being in regards to an alteration of premises. We'll read the notice to open the hearing. In accordance with Chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Laws as amended, notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held at the Plymouth Town Hall, 26 Court Street, Plymouth, Massachusetts, on Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025, at 6:01 p.m. or thereafter, to consider the application for an alteration of premises from Vitamin C Brewing, Plymouth LLC, doing business as Vitamin C Brewing, 98 Water Street, Unit 102, Dino Funari, manager. Description of premises will be as follows. Applying for a 19H pouring permit, no physical changes to the premises, 6,063 square feet. Premises consists of 2 floors. The first floor is utilized for brewery production, tap room, kitchen, retail sales, and bathrooms. Second floor is utilized for winery production and pouring permit. 6 entrances and exits. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should plan to attend this meeting. All right. Dino, is there anything you wanted to add to this particular request beyond what you said during the first hearing?
No, sir. My understanding is this is what allows us to combine the farmer brewery and farmer winery pouring
Yes,
permits together.
that'd be correct.
So,
All right.
thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions from members of the board for the applicant? Okay. Are you here to speak in favor or in opposition to the application?
I'm in favor, but I have a question.
You may get up and speak in favor of the application if you identify yourself.
Brenda Silvius, I live on Winslow Street, directly across from Vitamin C. And we are in favor of it, but I'm curious about your second floor. Is it going to take over a couple of apartments?
No, it's not. We actually have a unit on our second floor right now that's being used. It's currently storage. It's not part of our farmer brewery layout, if you will.
The answer was that no, there's already an existing unit space taken up.
Oh,
Public
okay.
can't hear the
Because
response.
we've been in your brewery, but I never noticed a second floor. There is one.
There is, yeah. It's in there.
Oh, okay. So that will be open to people going upstairs?
No, actually, the 19H application, which is a separate application, allows us to combine everything into the tap room that's on that first floor.
Oh, okay. I see. So that's workspace on the second floor? Okay.
The space will not be available for members of the public, but will be for workers. All right. Anyone else here to speak in favor of the application? Anyone online? All right. Hearing and seeing none. Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Anyone online? Hearing and seeing none. Last call for any questions for members of the board. Hearing and seeing none, I will declare the hearing closed. Do I have a motion or other wish of the board?
Motion to approve alteration of premises.
All right. Mr. Golden has moved that we approve the request for alteration of the premises. Do I have a second?
Second?
Ms. Iaquinto has seconded. Any discussion about whether or not we should approve the alteration of premises request? Hearing and seeing none. Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintel?
Abstain.
And myself, yes. So once again, with 4 voting in favor, 0 in opposition, and 1 abstention, we have approved the alteration of premises request. Thank you very much. All right, so that brings us into the next section of our agenda. That would be the listed licenses. We have 2 one-day wine and malt licenses, and we also have a request to surrender a liquor license previously held by Proof 22. Wish of the board in regards to the listed licenses.
Mr. Chair, unless my colleagues want to take these individually, I would make a motion that we approve the one-day wine and malt licenses and the surrender of liquor license as advertised on our agenda.
All right, Mr. Golden moves that we approve those licenses and surrendering of a license request as a group. Do I have a second?
Second?
Ms. Iaquinto has seconded, it has been moved and seconded. Any discussion from members of the board in regards to the motion? Hearing and seeing none. Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintel?
Yes.
And myself, yes, it is unanimous. That brings us into the next item on our agenda, that being Administrative Note 1. Wish of the board in regards to Administrative Note 1.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Golden moves that we approve Administrative Note 1. Do I have a second?
Second?
Ms. Iaquinto has seconded. Any discussion about whether or not we should approve Administrative Note 1? Hearing and seeing none. Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintel?
Yes.
And myself, yes, it is unanimous. We have approved Administrative Note 1. That brings us into the next section of our agenda, that being the listed agenda items, first and foremost of which is Article 7, Morton Park Town Brook Culvert Project, dedication of town-owned land. We are joined by David Gould, Director of Energy and Environment. Mr. Gould, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening. Article 7 seeks to establish 2 easements for the Morton Park Culvert Project. One is a permanent easement, the footprint of where the existing culvert will be replaced to designate that for highway purposes. And then there's also a small temporary construction easement on adjacent private property. That owner is not seeking any financial compensation at this time, so it's simply to be able to do some work to stabilize the stream bank on the downstream side of the culvert as the project's being completed. Both of the easements are requirements for the $2 million from Federal Highway Administration and Mass DOT funding that we received for the project. I also want to just note that neither the permanent or the temporary constitute any changes in the use of the parkland. There were no Article 97 implications, so no changes in the park or the area in which the culvert will be replaced. People can still walk, fish, traverse it, so no Article 97 implications. This is the plan showing the proposed culvert, and so just to give folks some location, this would be coming in Morton Park Road from the rear entrance. This is coming around where the Stone Arch Bridge is in Morton. That culvert will be replaced. This is the downstream work. There's a small amount of stream bank work on the private property that we would be doing. And then there'll be a formal right-of-way easement plan, which is this. This is basically showing you the same thing coming into Morton Park. This is the location of the culvert. This area here would be the permanent easement, designating it for highway purposes, and in this small gray area is the temporary easement on the private property during construction. And that's all I have to offer.
Okay, Mr. Cohan?
So downstream is, the top right would be heading to the harbor. Am I correct?
Correct. This is Town Brook coming through the culvert. This is heading to what's called deep water, with Route 3 being here, so this is heading downstream.
Right. And the, so you have the renovations going on at the Arch Bridge and the culvert, and there's the easement there that you're showing us on the temporary easement during this work, but then there's a permanent easement. Where do they access it? Does the easement take you out to the road to get from point A to point B? I was just curious. I was looking at it, trying to get a handle on the easement logistics of you going on and off the property.
So it can be accessed one of two ways. There is part of the driveway for the private home goes across the town property that you could get down to this location. There's also an old, essentially an old utility easement that comes off of Morton Park Road and leads you to this area as well. So you can access it one of two ways.
Okay.
The reason why this easement is larger than just the culvert is it needs to be any place we're doing the work, including on the private property.
And the renovations to the Arch Bridge is removing the stone?
There will be the existing stone arch bridge will be removed. A larger precast structure will be placed. The existing stones that are on there now would be cut and used as facade stone on the new structure.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from board members for the presenter? Mr. Gould, does this project require the removal of any earth?
There'll be earth removal as part of, so this project will be bid as one project, but there's actually two culverts, only one of which has the federal highway money going towards it. So that's this one. There is another smaller, what we call box culvert, located approximately in this area. To remove and replace both of those culverts will include removal of material to get all that out and excavate, certainly.
Do you have any way of estimating how much earth removal will be required?
I don't have that exact figure, but I would say at least right now, at least a couple hundred yards, if not more. That's typical for culvert removal and then digging down to the appropriate depth to get the appropriate footings in place. The geotech in this location has indicated, which isn't a huge surprise for those of us in Plymouth, there's extensive sand throughout this layer, so we need to excavate deep enough to be able to put good footings in place. So I don't know the exact figure, but I would say at least 300 to 400, if not more, cubic yards.
And is there any time sensitivity to the availability of the grants that you're using to fund portions of this project?
So this has been one of the more challenging projects, not in terms of being able to design it, but in terms of permitting because of all the implications that go along with federal highway and MassDOT money. And there, of course, this is a herring run, so we have time of year restrictions for upstream and downstream passage of the adults and the juveniles in the fall. And so we're limited to basically working in the winter months. So lots of constraints on this one. We want to expend the grant money by doing this project next year. We were hoping to do it this year, but we're not going to be able to make that. We would hope to do it next year, which would put us at year 4 of a 5-year grant. So we would hope to be able to get that project done at that time.
What happens if you get through 5 years of the grant and you haven't done the work? You lose the money?
I would say that's conceivable. That will not happen because I'm not going to lose the $2 million. But essentially what happens by all those constraints that I just mentioned, we don't work in the summer because the park's open. We can't work in the spring because the fish are running. We can't work in late summer, early fall because the juveniles are out migrating. So it really leaves late fall and winter to do this project. So if you miss that time of year, you're essentially set the clock back a year. Mm-hmm. So we won't miss it, but I also don't want to risk that either.
I understand that left to your own devices, you would not miss that because I think you have a proven track record of doing not just what you say you will do, but going above and beyond, and certainly leveraging federal and state grants and other available grant funding sources to do these projects that are beneficial to the environment and the community without putting it all on the back of taxpayers.
Thank you.
But let's say theoretically that absent your ability to control it, you were handed a delay of, say, 11 and a half months on the project. Would that potentially jeopardize, if you couldn't work on this for 11 and a half months, would that jeopardize your availability of the funding sources that you're relying on for the project?
I would say that's a likelihood. One, we don't want to push up against the time limits. Let me phrase this as politically as I can. Nor do we want to do anything that would solicit any sort of reason for them to claw back money that was approved by the federal government.
Particularly given the, let's say, volatile nature of federal funding for communities, particularly located in certain states?
Well said.
Thank you. Any other questions for the presenter? All right. Wish of the board in regards to Article 7?
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that we include Article 7, the Morton Park Town Brook Culvert Project, dedication of town-owned land to the fall town meeting warrant, and recommend its approval by town meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Golden. Do I have a second to Mr. Golden's motion?
Yes, I'll second.
Has been moved, it has been seconded. Any discussion about whether or not we should include Article 7, the fall town meeting warrant, and recommend that town meeting approve it? Hearing and seeing none. Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintel?
Yes.
And myself, yes, it is unanimous. That brings us into the next item on our agenda, that being Article 10, bylaw recodification. We are joined by Town Clerk Kelly McElroy.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to come here and present Article 10 on the town meeting warrant for October. So it's classified as recodification of the bylaws. If you might remember, in April of 2022, town meeting approved $16,000 for me to contract with a vendor to codify our bylaws. So we've been working diligently over the last couple of years, once the contract was signed, to answer more than 180 questions that the vendor had on the bylaws that we had. These bylaws, the codification, just so everyone is aware, is to bring the bylaws up to date and compliant with Mass General Law. So in your packet that you received, there was a 29-page document that was redlined and changes made to the document. Those are the only changes we're making out of the 300-page document of our general bylaws. So what it does is it brings them compliant with Mass General Law. It reflects the best business practice of the town. So some of those questions are like, are you still doing this? Is this fine still appropriate if someone is not doing this? So on and so forth. It also takes all the information we have in our general bylaws and makes it constant in organization, format, and style. So when you see Mass General Law, it will be capital M, period, capital G, period, capital L, and it will be that way. Anytime we still have bylaws that refer to Board of Selectmen, it will now be Select Board. All those changes are incorporated in these changes. And when you review the red line document, you'll see a lot of them are just grammatical, like changing or taking out things that no longer apply. For example, there was a committee that, it was still in the bylaws that said when this committee that was established 20 years ago, this is how it will be set up to begin with. And we don't need to have that because the committee's been there for 20 years. The codification will also include all special acts that have been accepted at town meeting throughout the years, as well as any accepted state statutes. So what that leads to is a new and improved website that you can go click on general bylaws off the Town of Plymouth's website. It will go to this vendor's website, similar to the software that we now use for boards and committees. And you can search anything that you want, any keywords, and it pops up and it gives you all the options right there for you to look at. And it gives you the option, if you want to pull up the bylaw on historic district committee, you can pull that up and you can download it as a PDF and read it and have it very simplified for you as we move forward. So I encourage anyone to look through this, and if you have any questions on why we decided to make a change that we did, to please reach out to me. This will be on the website. Hopefully, once you finalize the warrant, we'll have it on the website. It's going out to all town meeting members for them to review and understand the changes that were made or that is looking to be made. And what will happen at town meeting is we will vote the whole document as one. Unless, of course, if there's any amendments. And then send it to the Attorney General to be approved. I can tell you this vendor has worked with many Massachusetts communities over the years, and I know the Attorney General is very comfortable with the work that they do. And once we receive that approval, the website will be up and running. Here to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions? Yes, Ms. Iaquinto.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Just to clarify, so the searchable website that you mentioned, that'll be available to the public?
Once town meeting votes to approve these, and the AG votes to approve it 90 days later.
Excellent. And right now, we don't have that capability?
Correct. Right now, it's just a PDF, so you can search the PDF, but it's not nearly as user-friendly as what this website will provide.
That's great. Thank you.
Other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wish of the board in regards to Article 10, bylaw recodification.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that the board include Article 10, bylaw recodification on the fall town meeting warrant and recommend its approval to town meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Golden. Mr. Golden has moved. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Iaquinto has seconded that we include Article 10, bylaw recodification in the fall annual town meeting warrant and recommend that town meeting approve it. Any discussion? Mr. Golden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As the former chair of the the most recent charter review committee, one of the things that we discussed frequently was access to information about the operations of our government, and the bylaws are a critical component of that. So I really hope that town meeting approves this because it'll make it so much more accessible to the town, to the citizens.
Thank you, Mr. Golden. I would agree, and I think that over time, the way that things have been added or subtracted have made it, yes, cumbersome to keep track of and difficult to track down certain things. Mr. Anderson, our records aficionado, was here earlier in regards to the admin note and has done a lot of work with the digitization of our records and tracking down when things were voted on and keeping track of things like that. But this will allow members of the public to see all the bylaws in one place that they can easily navigate. And I think it will improve the experience for everyone significantly. So I am also cautiously optimistic the town meeting will approve this. Any other discussion, further discussion from board members? Ms. Iaquinto.
So I did go through the red line version, and I really appreciate the time and effort that went into making it consistent and more clarity. The clarity and consistency that you've managed to achieve with this whole exercise is very much appreciated. And a special thank you for changing select men to select board. We do appreciate that.
Yes. Be nice to be consistent with our own name.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call for the vote. Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintel?
Yes.
And myself, yes, it is unanimous. We have approved Article 10 and recommended that town meeting approve it as well. That brings us to Fall Town Meeting Article 13, appropriation of funds for water pollution abatement facility projects. Mr. Hartman.
Thank you. Lee Hartman, Director of Planning and Development for the town of Plymouth. This is the 17th round of this program that we are doing through town meeting. What we're looking for is to borrow from the state revolving fund, $400,000, and that money is put in an account and it's used for replacement of failed septic systems. Or if you have a failed system and you want to hook up to municipal wastewater, you can do that too. So what we do is we borrow this at 2%, we make it available at 5%. That 3% difference covers our cost for borrowing, our administrative costs for that, and we make loans, they vary, but generally loans of up to $35,000 to help individuals repair their septic systems. The thing I think I want to point out, right now, we think we have about $430,000 left. We're looking for $400,000 now. This summer, we spent approximately $450,000 just this summer alone on upgrading systems. So what we're finding is the cost, as with everything else in the world, has become much more expensive. So what used to be maybe a $15,000 to $20,000 repair is now a $30,000 or $35,000 repair. So again, we think we want to get the authorization for this next slug of money because we are using this money a lot faster than we had in the past. It's a great program, and to date, we've serviced about 328 households with failed septic systems. So it's a great program, and we hope you support it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hartman. Questions, Mr. Golden?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Lee, thank you for bringing this forward. When the repayments are made, does that money go back to the state's fund?
So we borrow it, and then so I think we pay for it when we borrow it. So that money just goes to repay the money we borrowed.
Correct. Yes.
So we borrow it in advance, and we're paying.
Yep.
And then as people make payments, we're using that money to pay down.
So anytime we do this program, anytime we renew it, we're borrowing and then subsequently making.
Yeah, and we don't have
a
to borrow
payment
all
towards it.
400,000. We have that authorization, so we can borrow it as we need it also. And typically what we'll do is go to Lynn Barrett and say, okay, we're ready to borrow another chunk of money. And
Yep.
we do it as needed. So again, as we start to burn down the 400 or so thousand that we have now, we
Yep.
wouldn't be borrowing this until that previous money is borrowed.
Okay. And I just want to confirm, so because we borrow at 2%, but we offer it at 5%.
Correct.
We're covering both any of the interest that would be generated on this, as well as our administrative overhead.
Correct. And the
you.
state mandate says 5%, so we can't, that's what their rules are. But yes, that's what it does.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Ms. Iaquinto?
Yeah, thank you very much, Lee. I just have two quick questions. First, how many homeowners have been able to take advantage of this program?
328 to date.
Excellent. And how do we communicate that this program
So it's
is
available on our website. We have it available in our office. We also have a separate program through Community Development Block Grant money that comes through the federal government, so that if you have a $30,000 repair and that's out of your income eligibility, we have money available for lower income families to assist them also. And that's typically done as a zero interest loan that's repayable upon sale. So you can borrow that money, it's put down as a loan, but it's only paid zero interest and it's paid when you sell the house. So we have those two programs, but it's all available online, Community Development Office and through our office.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Cohen?
So this program now is, the town has had this program, town meeting has been approving this each year for the last 25?
At least, yeah.
I've been a town meeting member for 27 years, so we've been doing this in the 27 years, as Deb indicated. The amount of people that have been served have been over 300, you said?
328.
Okay, and there's an application process that people qualify for this?
There's no real qualification. You have a
Really?
failed septic system, so there's no
Right.
income minimum, no income maximum.
Okay.
We will look at everything to make sure we feel comfortable they can pay it, but
Right.
really, this is about repairing a septic.
Yeah.
So if you have a failed septic system, you're damaging the environment. So this,
Right.
the goal here is to get that system fixed. And,
So this
and
is-
again,
yeah. This is a program for all the residents of Plymouth to take advantage of if they find themselves in a failed system, and there's no qualification, you just fill out the application in the town.
yeah, I think we'll look at your income and make sure that we're comfortable. But again, this is.
To pay
what-
it back.
Yeah, and the payback is done through your tax bill. So
Yeah.
unlike other loan
There's a lien
programs
on it.
where maybe you're a second or a third, you're behind a first mortgage.
lien.
There's a foreclosure, none of that matters because this is just assessed through your tax bill.
Yeah. So it's a lien on your.
Not
property.
lien, it's part of
Yeah.
your tax bill,
Yeah,
so.
tax your bill,
yeah.
yeah.
Could become a lien if you didn't pay it.
Right, as it would for your outstanding taxes too.
Right, right. And The funds can also be used, I see in the backup memo, for individuals that have the availability to hook up to the sewer.
Correct.
Due to that expanding into their area. So I think, obviously, expanding our sewer is a long-term and quite expensive project in other regards, but knowing that this can be utilized for that purpose as well, since while a functioning septic system is good, being on the town sewer is much better for the environment.
And we do not allow you to use this so that you could then turn around and sell your house. So this is for owner occupied. If you have a system that needs to be upgraded, you can't use this money. You'd have to do that through your normal transaction.
Okay. Mr. Cohen?
But regardless, if the people do decide to sell a year or two later and they're still paying this down, it's taken out of the closing costs.
It's on, well.
Yeah, they pay it off.
It's assessed on the tax bill. So
Yeah,
it would be
so-
up to them to decide how they pay that and whether that, and I'm not familiar. I've never heard whether somebody just assumes that on a tax bill when they buy these, or as part of the transaction, they say, we want that piece paid off.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because if you were to go to a closing and, sell the property, the closing cost, identify your outstanding obligations to the town.
Yep.
And those would be paid at the closing.
It could be, I mean, I don't see why it couldn't just remain on your tax bill too. And again, I'm not that familiar with what happens and what the
That's
general
a
protocol is.
curious question. Now you brought up something, I assumed over the years that that's what happened. That's that.
As Mr. Golden has indicated, he can answer that question.
Yeah,
there you
the
go.
assessor's office actually clears it up with the homeowner before the sale. You can't get a clean MLC unless you
Pay that.
satisfy this loan before going to closing. So if someone does utilize this as a pass-through, they got to pay up front, essentially.
So it's not something that is part of the ALC, it's not the part of the closing cost?
It's not part of the closing costs, no. They would need to pay before they get to the closing table in order to close.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why no one will use this as a pass-through to get to the table.
Well, I was just thinking that if someone fixes their septic, they're paying it off, they have a balance, it's
Yeah.
a year or two later.
That could happen.
So that was, okay, very good, thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Other questions? All right. Wish of the board in regards to Article 13.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we include Article 13, appropriation of funds for water pollution abatement facility projects on the fall town meeting warrant, and recommend its approval to town meeting.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Golden. Do I have a second to Mr. Golden's motion?
Yes, I'll second.
Ms. Iaquinto has seconded. Any discussion in regards to Article 13 and whether or not we should include it on the town meeting warrant and recommend town meeting approve it? Hearing and seeing none. Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Quintel?
Yes.
And myself, yes. It is unanimous. We have approved town meeting Article 13 for inclusion on the warrant and recommended that town meeting approve it themselves for passage as well. That brings us into Article 14, Plymouth zoning bylaw, Section 206.6, multifamily overlay district, and to amend the official zoning map. Once again, Mr. Hartman.
Thank you. So just won't go into this. I think you're very familiar with it. We have the multifamily zoning requirements that the state has adopted. It's mandatory that towns must do this. If you don't do it, there are either legal penalties or penalties as it relates to different grants. So back in 2023, we retained the services of Barrett Planning Group, and they worked with us. We identified several different locations where we thought we could comply with the MBTA communities. And if you recall, what we basically decided as a community is let's take credit for where multifamily already exists and not simply rezone more land so we can have yet in a town that's already struggling with growth, more growth. So we adopted a map that superimposed most of this development potential of the zone over areas that were already residentially developed. Once we identified the sites, we had the Barrett Planning Group run that they have what's called a compliance model, the state. So we ran our zoning overlay district through the model, and it said we complied. We Went to town meeting adopted this bylaw, and then the Attorney General approved it. A year later, the Commonwealth came to us and said, well, we have this other provision that's a compliance requirement, but it's not in the compliance model. And that provision says that you must have at least 50% of the zone contiguous to it itself. So it's something that our consultant missed, something that we weren't aware of. So again, when we did this, we had Cottage Park, Sawyer's Reach, and the Colony Place area. Oasis off of Home Depot Drive and the Pine Hills were our areas. But we did not have one piece that was at least 50% of the zone. So we went back and we looked at what our options would be and how we could deal with it. And what we just determined was the best approach to deal with this is to take the Westwood Village, which is a 55 and older special permit community located adjacent to Colony Place and Sawyer's Reach, and incorporate that into our overlay district. Now that property is already subject to a special permit, so nothing can happen, just like with most of the other overlay district we've done. We're taking credit for our higher density development that's already in existence. This zoning change by adding this will have no effect at all on the property. Because we were doing something different, we met with the executive board of the Westwood Village group, and then we also had a neighborhood meeting and invited all the residents of Westwood Village to attend that meeting. And there was no opposition to this change, and I think they fully understood what we were doing. So what we're doing is increasing this one and superimposing it over already existing residential development. If anybody hypothetically said how could they do something, they'd have to abandon that project, abandon those houses, and reconfigure something. It is not going to happen. And then on the second side of what we did, we took the zoning overlay district we have for the Pine Hills. So this is Route 3, this is Clark Road, the market is right here, the fire station's here, and we just eliminated some of the multifamily district that we had in the Pine Hills and made it a little smaller. Made the one at Colony Place a little bigger. Ultimately, this is much ado about nothing, because in the end, it really doesn't change anything. It's existing on area that's already been developed and developed by a special permit. There are two other things that the Commonwealth has cautioned us on, and we've been cautioned before about the definition of family in our bylaw. We've known that our definition of family in our zoning bylaw is not, doesn't meet the new standards based on case law. So we have a revision to the definition of family, as well as they cautioned us that they wanted it to be crystal clear that there was nothing that would require a special permit for the multifamily development. So we put some language in stating that a special permit, should something happen in this district, would not be triggered. And then we also added a revised definition of family, which again, we've been cautioned on other zoning changes that we've done over the years. We did send this off to the state, and they would not say it does comply, but they believe it will comply, is what they said. So again, once this is done, I think we're right back where we were. Just to note, there are a bunch of grants that we won't get if we don't do this and we're not in compliance, as well a bunch of other grants that would be listed as not competitive with. And then just here are some of the recent grants that we've had. And the chairman raised a question about, I believe he was talking about the petitioned article that's becoming before town meeting for the moratorium on gravel. I am concerned that if that moratorium passes, that the state, there's a very good chance, I think they'll find us in non-compliance with the MBTA laws, because there's no way you could do a 15 unit per acre multifamily development without removing more than the minimums that are identified in that bylaw. So again, as we talk about other things that may come up, and we don't need to discuss it as part of this, but I am concerned that if that did pass, we may be found, even after doing this, to be non-compliant for a year, because that's the length of the moratorium. But for that year, if we were non-compliant, we would not be eligible for grants during that year. And that's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hartman. Any questions for Mr. Hartman, for members of the board? Lee, so how much of the district will be contiguous now, percentage-wise?
It's just just a little over 50%.
Okay.
So we did the minimum necessary to comply with their standards. So it's just slightly over 50%.
Okay, all right. And I mean, it's odd that the state would put out a compliance
Model,
module that you can run your thing through that doesn't have all of the checklists items on it.
correct. And I think part of the problem is, and maybe, shame on me, that when this first all came out, we tried to get ahead of the curve so Plymouth was ready for this.
Right.
And we were some of the earlier communities doing this, much as the state was going through, creating their own regulations and going through all of their own determinations of things. So, I think part of what happened with the Barrett Planning Group too is we were doing this early on, and it's not something that was highlighted as great as it is now in other communities. But again, when it's all said and done, we're just superimposing over something that's already been developed.
Are we confident that there are no other miscellaneous requirements?
I don't know if you ever work with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Sadly, every day,
Um,
yes.
I feel confident that they said that they believe this passes muster, but again, you just never know.
Okay, all right. Mr. Cohan?
Lee, during your presentation, you indicated what had transpired when we first initiated the model, and we went to town meeting, we passed the article. And now we're back again, going back to town meeting, because it was brought to our attention that we needed this accommodation. You said just clarify this, you indicated during your presentation that this accommodation hasn't been confirmed by the state, that they're okay with it. We're going to
So-
town meeting, we're looking for a vote, but we're
should-
not sure.
Right.
This is what they've asked us to do,
They
but they
said
haven't. Let me just finish. They basically indicated that this is what we'd like you to do. We're doing it, but you indicated that there's a possibility that they might ask for another thing, or this
No.
might not accommodate
No,
them.
that's
Okay.
not what I indicated.
Okay, all
So
right.
what,
Looking for a clarification.
if you want, I can pull up the email they gave me, but the email said, we've looked at it and it appears you're in compliance, but they are not going to say that they will not say you comply.
Okay.
They're saying that it looks like you comply, but you need to file for us to make that determination, even
Okay.
though they have everything.
Okay, and we can only file after we get a vote at town meeting.
Correct.
Okay, all right, I understand, thank you.
So they won't give you a final determination until that happens?
Right, but they did say it appears we comply. And again, I can get the exact language from the email if you'd like.
But that's the gist of it? Okay. Other questions? Yes, Mr. Quintal?
It doesn't have to do exactly with this, but kind of. In front of Cottage Park, if you will, to the left, the new development there, it's white, blue, and bricks. Set back a little bit.
You mean the multifamily there, at Cottage?
Yeah. Is that for sale for $3 million today?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, well, my question is, if it is, how can it be for sale? It's like not landscaped? This is probably a Jason Silva question.
So is this a smaller multifamily, like 5 units, or is this the bigger hundreds?
It's like 3 stories high.
I'm not sure. So is it part of Cottage, or is it a building just adjacent to Cottage?
No, it's in front of the cottage, right? Yeah, it's not part of cottage, I don't think. Is it?
Mr. Everett
I'm sorry,
Malaguti
I
is coming up from the audience to answer the question.
Eric Malaguti, yeah, it's just slightly adjacent to about a couple buildings north of it. And it is on the real estate website as for sale.
For 3 million, something, yeah. Okay, so my question is, how do you frame something, finish it off, pretty much, building, and not landscape, there's no driveways? I don't understand how that works. And I
Well,
don't
you
know
can
how
s-
it
you
goes
could
through
s-
a process, how you get an occupancy permit without all that stuff being done.
They don't have an occupancy. I guarantee you they don't have an occupancy permit. I don't know for a fact, but there is no
Okay.
way they would have an
Well,
occupancy.
that's what I mean.
So the buyer, if it's on the market as is, the buyer either buys it and all of those permits and requirements run with the land, not with the owner. So they would have to meet all the requirements. That's a special permit that was granted by the zoning board. And I believe we just got the notification for the state that they have an affordable unit there that they just added to our inventory. So that affordable restriction runs with the land. If somebody chooses to buy it where it's not complete, then they're obligated to complete it. Maybe it's for sale under the condition that the owner will agree to the buyer that he's going to get an occupancy before he finishes it. But I'm not familiar with the particulars.
All right, I wasn't trying to put you on the spot, but it's just,
Well, you did.
well, I didn't mean to. I guess the reason why I bring it up is, I have to be honest, I haven't seen anything that ugly in quite a while. It does nothing to fit in the area. It sticks out, and that's what I do. I represent the people, and that one, even though it's off the road, it just doesn't match the rest of the neighborhood. I don't know. So, for what it's worth. Thank you.
Any other questions from board members in regards to Article 14? Mr. Cohan?
Not really towards Article 14, but to your point, the town did once have a design and review committee, a committee that used to look at structures like that and report to the steering committees some recommendations for changes. So there was once a vehicle for what you just said, through the steering committees, yep.
And what happened is we probably went a decade, we were unable to get anybody to sit on that board. And so after a decade of vacancies, that board
I understand that. I recall the time in which they removed that committee. It wasn't a decade. I remember Peggy Fitzgibbons was the administrative assistant, and we were on the ZBA, and we were looking for this information. So I don't think it was a decade, but it was some time before it was fully forming. Yes, correct, Bart.
All right, any questions related to Article 14, which as a reminder is a Plymouth zoning bylaw, section 206.6, multifamily overlay district, and to amend the official zoning map? Questions in regards to that? Hearing and seeing none, do I have a motion in regards to that?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to include Article 14, Plymouth zoning bylaw, section 206.6, multifamily overlay district, and to amend the official zoning map on the fall town meeting warrant, and to recommend its approval to town meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Golden. Do I have a second to Mr. Golden's motion?
Yes, I will second that.
Has been moved, it has been seconded. Any discussion in regards to Article 14 and whether or not we should include it on the fall town meeting warrant and recommend town meeting approve it? Mr. Golden, was that you?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I share my colleagues' concerns, Lee, that we might need to go back to town meeting if
I'm
the
pretty
state
confident we're good this
then
time. We
says
spent a
no.
lot of time talking to the state about this. This is something that they brought to our attention in April, a year after we approved it, and we've had probably 5 different meetings with the Commonwealth about compliance.
I have faith in you, Lee. I have no faith in the state. I will also say that I abhor that the state is holding us hostage to this zoning requirement. So as I did when I was a town meeting member, I will swallow my pride and I will vote for this so that we can continue to properly fund the community through the grant programs that supplement our real estate taxes.
Thank you, Mr. Gold. Further discussion on Article 14? I would also point out in regards to the funding that we would lose out on in the last 5 years, doing rough calculations as I was sitting here, looks like we've $9 to $9.5 million worth of grants over this period of time. I know the Attorney General's office has also made somewhat ambiguous, generalized threats towards communities not in compliance above and beyond eligibility for grants as well, and what that would entail, probably at least litigation expenses and perhaps additional penalties if it weren't to go our way, would be unfortunate. And that the plan as in 2023 was to take credit for what work the community has already done. We have put online much more housing than many other, I think most other communities in the Commonwealth over the last several years, and we should get credit for that. I disagree with the concept, although I am a very strong proponent of affordable housing. I disagree with the concept of the MBTA communities law, basically requiring the suburbs of Boston and outlying communities to provide housing for their workforce. So they get the commercial development and we get to deliver services to their workers, which is not a great deal for the non-capital communities in Massachusetts, but for whatever reason, legislators from around the Commonwealth voted for that scheme to be in effect. We shall see how that plays out over time. But I think the important note for Plymouth is that while this board and prior boards, including the one that approved this, have made the increasing of affordable housing for Plymouth residents a priority, that we are not allowing this broad state mandate to dictate it for Plymouth. We are trying to take control of Plymouth for Plymouth and for the benefit of our residents, to have that service on our terms, not on the terms of Beacon Hill.
And ironically, this law has nothing to do with affordable housing. It's straight housing production.
That's true.
And they'll penalize you if you do more affordable housing. They won't let you do it. So this is even about affordable housing.
Yes.
This is just pure units that they are
Right,
trying to
just workforce
encourage.
housing, but for their workforce in our community. Yes. Very nice. Well, on that positive. Any other discussion? Mr. Quintal?
Lee, is it true more communities aren't in compliance than are?
No, there are
Has
several.
that changed?
I was told that there were 12 communities that missed this one provision that wasn't in their model. What they're doing, I don't know, but there really are only a handful of communities that haven't gone through the process to try to meet compliance. But there are a few.
Have any of their federal monies been held back?
I don't think federal, but the state monies, yes.
They are, the states,
Yes.
yeah.
They've actually clawed back grants that they previously gave to some communities for failure to comply, but it will certainly affect them moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? Article 14. Hearing and seeing none. Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintal? And myself, yes, it is unanimous. We have voted to include Article 14 in the town meeting warrant and recommend that town meeting approve it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hartman. That brings us into the next item on our agenda, that being public comment. Any members of the public in physical attendance here at the meeting that wish to give public comment? Yes, please identify yourself at the microphone. You have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you for allowing me to introduce myself. I'm Joe Paulsnello. I was awarded the Zero Plymouth Street Firehouse. Productively awarded from town council.
Is your microphone on? I believe it may not be.
I'm Joe Paulsnello, and I'm looking forward to be a resident of the town. I was awarded the number 0 Spooner Street Firehouse, which I'm working productively with the town manager and town council. And we had our ducks in order. We had a meeting last August 21st, productive meeting. And I delayed it with thinking I would need an access agreement to intrusive testing, but I don't need that. The town manager was gracious to expedite access, which is in the report I provided you. We went in last Friday with the town's operations people, and I identified more issues of concern that I still remain committed to assume, but I think it's something that I needed to communicate to the various boards and the permitting departments, which I need to get permits of the imminent concerns there. So I thank you for that, and I look forward to going through the process and finalizing the closure with the town manager and being eventually a resident of the town. And I thank Selectman Quintel. There's pictures in there of one of my best friends just recently was at you'll see pictures of him at your memorial that you were started, which was able to honor one of his family members. So I thank you. I look forward to being a productive resource to the community. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Other members of the public wishing to give comment? Yes, please take the microphone, introduce yourself, and you will have up to 3 minutes to deliver your remarks.
Is it on? Perfect. Hi, everyone. Sarah McCormick, Precinct 3. On October 26th, I'll be running the Marine Corps Marathon in Washington, D.C. to raise awareness and support for Guardian Revival, a nonprofit dedicated to improving the mental health and wellness of military members, veterans, first responders, our guardians, as well as their families. My connection to Guardian Revival stretches back to childhood. I grew up with the founder, Alex, who's a retired Navy SEAL. We lived in the same community, and our dads worked together as firefighters in New York City. I've seen the positive impact of this organization's work in my hometown, and now, as their impact expands nationwide, I'm honored to spread awareness of their work to Guardians of the South Shore. Through their programs, Guardian Revival provides outdoor adventures, companion dogs, opportunities to learn and play music, and individual and group peer support all at no cost to the Guardians. This Marine Corps Marathon is not just another race in the books for me. Our hometown was significantly impacted by the events of 9/11. When I travel back to New York next week for our local candlelight vigil, the names of our neighbors lost in the attacks 24 years ago, as well as those who have passed in the years since from related illnesses, will be read, and bells will toll in their memory. The Memorial Park in the town center serves as a reminder of the struggles our local Guardians continue to face. And to your point as well, the memorial here as well. This Friday, September 5th, Untold Brewing in Cordage Park will be hosting a fundraiser event for Guardian Revival. $1 from every pour from open to close will be donated to my campaign. Additionally, the Maetai will be on site from 4 to 8 p.m. They will be graciously donating $1 from every pad thai order to Guardian Revival, and they'll be offering first responders a 10% discount. There'll be live music on site from 6 to 9, courtesy of Carlin Tripp. And I'll be on site all day to provide information about Guardian Revival programs so I can connect Plymouth Guardians to this organization. I'll also leave some information about the event and about their programs with you in case you want to share them with the appropriate departments here in town. I've already dropped some of these off down at the Veterans Affairs Office in Town Hall. I hope to see some of you there on Friday in support of this charity, as well as 2 great local businesses. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other members of the public? Yes, please take their microphone, introduce yourself, and you will have 3 minutes to give your remarks.
I'm here. My name's Kevin Leary. For those of you that don't know me, I'm here representing the North Plymouth Steering Committee as the chair. On July 16th at our meeting, Joe Bolsonaro came to explain to us what he intended to do with the North Plymouth Fire Station. We went over all of the generic issues with the building and so forth, and what he intended to do with it, and the ramifications of the fire department being able to post memorabilia and whatnot on the walls and making it available. And I sent an email to Mr. Brindisi, the select board, Neil Foley, the fire chief, and to the planning board. I don't know if you guys received it or not, but we did send that out, and it's a, fairly extensive letter just explaining that the committee is pretty much on the whole, thought that it was a good idea, good thing to pursue. And one of the critical aspects of it is that being a town meeting member for near as long as Bill, around 20 some odd years, and you guys dealing with budgetary constraints, we didn't really feel that the town had the money to do respect to that building with the hazardous waste cleanup, all the lead, asbestos, all of the odd things that are in that building. And secondly, Mr. Bolsonaro explained to us that he was going to keep the facade of the building looking as it is, register the building on some sort of historic, I don't know exactly where that would go. but again, making it available to the fire department, such as when they're at Mr. Quintel's memorial on the memorial of 9/11, things like that, July 4th, whatever they decide. So anyway, if you have a chance, you could possibly go back. The email that went out was mailed out by my wife, Lucille Larry, so I think I had actually been talking to Mr. Brindisi about it, and he went back, and that's how he found it. It's my wife, because as in my business, she sent out all the emails and so forth. So anyway, it's in there. It was sent on July 16th, and the
You have
committee...
exceeded your 3 minutes. Do you want an additional minute to conclude your remarks, or would you like further time?
I think I'm done.
Well, you can finish within a minute. That's fine.
Okay, thank you. I just, as I said, the committee was in full support of doing this and letting him go ahead and, you know, rejuvenate the property and live there. And I didn't talk to Chief Foley afterwards, but sounds to me like he was in favor of this. So that's my opinion, and that was also the opinion of the steering committee.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else in physical attendance seeking to give public comment? Anyone in virtual attendance? All right, that brings us to the next section of our agenda, that being the town manager's report. Mr. Brindisi.
Great, just a few updates this evening. So first and foremost, I just want folks to be aware that although we're at the end of the summer, Long Beach is still open for just 2 more weekends. After the second weekend of September, Long Beach will be closed for the season and will reopen next summer, as usual. The Director of Energy and Environment was with us this morning, who reported that we will see over at Jenny Pond the mobilization of the work that will take place at Jenny Pond. That will include the beginning of the bypass and the dam repairs. We'll also see in the next month or so mobilization of the improvements to be made at the Full Sail. So there have been a number of public meetings, one this past summer at the Wildlands Trust, where the public meeting was held to finalize the design of the Full Sail, so which will include beach plantings, benches, and some shade over in that area. So I want folks to be aware, and we will post this as soon as we get closer, that the parking lot that was over on St. Charles Ave and White Horse Road, that parking lot is going to be closed. It's already gated, so there have been a number of vehicles parking there throughout the summer. So we're going to post that in a couple weeks to allow folks to remove their vehicles. But once we begin to mobilize equipment, we're going to close that parking area for the remainder of the winter so that we can complete that work. Once that is complete, we'll then lock the gate, and then we'll bring back to the board an amendment to the White Horse Beach Parking District, which will include that parking lot. Additionally, we are also completing the road work, the improvements made to our streets and sidewalks this summer. I'm happy to report that 26 miles of chip seal has been complete. Last year, we completed 13 miles of chip seal, so we doubled the number of road miles just in chip seal alone. So we'll still have some more asphalt work that'll take place for the remainder of the season, but just wanted folks to be aware that chip seal is now complete. Burt's property. So we expect the demolition of Burt's to take place sometime next week. The building commissioner will be issuing a demolition permit sometime this week. You will see a mobilization of heavy equipment towards the end of this week. There'll be staging in the area. We expect them to remove any underground storage tanks this week in all preparation for the final tear down of the structure next week. So again, more to come on that. From the fire chief's report this morning, he has alerted me that looking at their call data, they've had an increase of 10% from last year, the number of calls that they're responding to. Typical year-over-year increase, they would expect a 2% increase. So they're gonna have to dive a little bit deeper into that call data to try to determine where specifically, if there's any specific location in town that they're seeing this large increase of call volume. So as that data becomes available, I'll report that back to the board as well. And last, I just want to report that actually tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. over at Home Depot Drive, Mass Housing will be conducting a site visit for Oasis Phase 2. Oasis, as we all know, is a 300-unit 40B project. They are proposing an additional 160 units, and because they're proposing that, Mass Housing typically conducts these site visits. So we'll have staff, Lee Hartman over there, meeting with Mass Housing. We're in preparation of submitting a letter to Mass Housing outlining our concerns of this project. As we report in the past, we are expected to be in Safe Harbor, and we expect Safe Harbor to protect us from this project. However, we still have to proceed as in any other normal course of action. So I'll keep the board posted on that as well. Pending any questions, that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Brindisi. Any questions for the town manager? Mr. Quintal?
Eric, did I hear correctly that the beach will be closed in 2 weeks?
Yeah, Long Beach is
So
only open for
what does that
two-
exactly mean, so people watch and know?
So Long Beach, the area past the crossover, that area is only going to be open for
Crossover.
2 more weekends. Plymouth Beach will stay open. I believe Plymouth Beach we are done guarding the beach, but of course, the beach is still open if folks plan to use it. White Horse Beach continues to stay open, but that, we haven't guarded that all summer long anyways.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions? Ms. Iaquinto?
Derek, you mentioned that there were some storage tanks that were going to be removed from Burt's.
Yes.
I was just curious, what were those tanks for? What were
So
they
we
used
know
for?
that there's one underground propane storage tank.
Okay.
And as last time I heard, we're still trying to make a determination regarding the septic system. So we're waiting to hear back from the property owner what they want to do with that septic system. If it still has a useful life remaining, we would expect them to preserve it, and then preserve it for any future construction there. If it's beyond its useful life, we would expect them to either remove the tank or crush it on site.
Thank you. Any other questions for the town manager? All right, hearing and seeing none, that brings us into the next item on our agenda. Thank you, Mr. Brindisi. That next item being Select Board discussion. Do we have any new business from Select Board members? All right. Okay, Mr. Cohan?
I was looking at our upcoming agenda. We make some references to presentations on the road. The ones that we've had so far have been very productive and very helpful. I think that it's been great to get out into the neighborhoods with a meeting. But I would like to put it on the agenda for further discussions to kind of look at ways that we can amplify or look at these events differently in terms of we should work on an agenda in advance of the meeting that is touching on issues that are important to that neighborhood, which would require us to kind of reach out in advance of these meetings to the steering committees in the neighborhoods about what they'd like to see on the agenda. And then at the end of this process, each of these meetings, we should have action items as a result of these meetings, what kind of follow-up we're going to do in terms of what we're hearing in the neighborhoods. We're hearing great ideas come out of the neighborhoods. How are we following up? So I'd like to look at the next meetings on the road that we put something on the agenda to discuss what the agenda of these meetings might look like and how we might pursue these meetings in the future.
So we can't present things at these meetings due to the technical limitations. So that's why we've been structuring them as question and answers and providing those answers as we can, then following up as necessary. But if you have any specifics in terms of tailoring that, I'd be happy to talk to you about that, and then we can go forward from that.
But I'd like to see if there was a chance that this board could put on a future agenda a discussion of how we proceed at these meetings outside of Town Hall in terms specifically looking at their agendas. I don't want to create a complicated situation in terms of challenging technology, just simply an agenda that reflects that neighborhood priority, that in advance of these meetings, we would be engaging the steering committees to get input back on what is a priority, to give us some guidance in our discussions in these neighborhood meetings, along with a simple portion of the agenda set aside for action items, how we're going to follow up effectively.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Second.
So you can't make a motion under new business, but you can, so we can talk about these agendas at a future meeting. I doubt we'll be able to do it before Manomet, but we do have we have one planned for West Elementary as well as Cold Spring after the town meeting cycle has concluded, where we can talk in more detail about the items that you've brought up in advance of those meetings. Other new business?
So does that mean it'll be a docket item?
Yes.
Because we had this conversation the first night you made chairman, and you told me point blank you weren't going to discuss it.
I wasn't going to discuss the concept of having an on the road as the date, time, and location of a meeting is within the purview of the chair to set.
I don't want a fancy answer. It's really a simple answer. I asked you then, and I'm going to ask you now. Will we be discussing this? That's all I'm looking to do, and I think Bill's alerting to it, maybe in a different way, to have a discussion about future meetings on the road, and how they'll be handled.
We can talk.
A simple discussion.
I understand. We can talk, as I just alluded to, about the details of items on those agendas at a future meeting. We will not be able to do that in advance of Manomet, but we can do that in advance of West and Cold Spring. Yes.
Thank you.
Other new business? Letters? Old business? All right. If there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn, having concluded our business?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Has been moved, it has been seconded that we adjourn, having concluded our business. Any discussion? Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintal? Yes. And myself, yes. It is unanimous. We are adjourned at 7:17. Thank you.